Have you ever met a man who could build an entire kingdom in his mind, but couldn't be bothered to lay a single brick in reality? Once upon a time, in a bustling city where dreams were sold on every corner, lived a man named Julian. If you spoke to Julian for 5 minutes, you would be convinced he was the next great genius of our generation. He wasn't just smart, he was brilliant. He wasn't just a dreamer, he was a visionary. He had the ambition of a conqueror and the intellect of a scholar. He wanted the penthouse, the legacy, and the history books. But Julian suffered from a silent, invisible disease, a disease that kills more dreams than fear ever will, a disease that has no symptoms until it is too late. Julian was addicted to a drug called tomorrow. This is the story of the most expensive habit in life. It is not gambling, it is not drugs. It is the comfortable, warm, and deadly habit of waiting until you are ready. Julian was not your typical lazy man. He didn't sit on the couch all day watching television. No, his laziness was far more dangerous because it wore a disguise. He was a productive procrastinator. He would spend weeks researching the perfect workout routine, buying the best running shoes, and reading books on nutrition, but he would never actually step into the gym. He would spend months designing the logo for his startup, choosing the font, and writing the mission statement, but he would never actually build the product. He told his friends, "I'm just planning, I'm strategizing, I don't want to rush it, it has to be perfect." And everyone believed him, because when Julian spoke, his eyes lit up. He could describe the future so clearly that you could almost touch it. But there was a disconnect, a broken bridge between his brain and his hands. Julian loved the idea of the work, but he hated the work itself. He loved the feeling of being about to start, that rush of dopamine you get when you tell someone, "I'm going to write a book." But the moment the excitement faded and the hard, boring, lonely work began, Julian would stop, and he would whisper his favorite mantra, "I'll finish it tomorrow when I feel more inspired." Little did he know, tomorrow is a place where 99% of human potential goes to die. The tragedy of Julian's life culminated in the winter of 2012. Julian was sitting in a diner with his college friend Marcus. Now, Marcus was different. He was messy. He was average. He struggled with complex concepts that came easily to Julian. But on this night, Julian grabbed a napkin and sketched out an idea. It was brilliant. It was an app that would revolutionize how people ordered services in the city. He had the algorithm, the marketing strategy, the user interface, all mapped out in his genius mind. Marcus stared at the napkin in awe. "Julian, this is it," Marcus said, his eyes wide. "This is the million-dollar idea. Let's build it tonight. I'll start learning the code, you handle the design." Julian laughed. He sipped his coffee and leaned back comfortably in the booth. "Relax, Marcus," Julian said with a smirk. "You can't just rush into this. I need to research the market first. I need to incorporate a company. I need to find the right color palette. We will start next month, once I clear my schedule. Perfection takes time." Marcus hesitated. He wasn't smart like Julian. He didn't know about market research or color palettes. All he knew was that the idea was good. So while Julian went home to plan and sleep, Marcus went home to work. Marcus didn't wait for perfection. He built a messy, ugly, buggy version of the app. He worked while Julian slept. He failed while Julian dreamed. 5 years passed. Julian was still perfecting his plan. He had 5 notebooks filled with ideas now, color-coded and organized, but he had 0 products. One evening, while Julian was lying on his sofa, telling himself that he would finally start on Monday, he turned on the news. And there he was, Marcus, the boy who wasn't smart enough, the boy who was messy. Marcus was standing on a balcony, ringing the bell at the stock exchange. His company, the one based on the idea from that napkin, had just gone public for $400 million. Julian sat up, frozen. The reporter asked Marcus, What was the secret to your success? You aren't a tech genius. You didn't have funding. Marcus looked at the camera and smiled, a smile that pierced right through the screen and into Julian's heart. Marcus said, "I realized that a good plan executed today is better than a perfect plan executed next week. I was just too stupid to know it was impossible, so I just did it. My partner, well, he wanted to wait until he was ready. I think he is still waiting." Julian dropped his coffee mug. It shattered on the floor. But the mug wasn't the only thing that broke that day. Julian realized that Marcus hadn't stolen his idea. Marcus had simply picked it up from the floor where Julian had left it to gather dust. The pain of poverty is manageable. You can survive being broke. But the pain of regret? That is a poison that rots the soul. Julian spent the rest of his life bitter. He would tell anyone who would listen, "That was my idea. He got lucky." But deep down, in the silence of the night, Julian knew the truth. The world doesn't pay you for what you know. It doesn't pay you for what you plan. The world only pays you for what you do. Ambition without action is just a fantasy. Intelligence without execution is just trivia. Julian had treated his life like a dress rehearsal, always waiting for the main show to start. But he never realized that the curtain had gone up the day he was born and the audience was waiting. He was the architect of a castle that no one would ever live in. So, listen closely. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting to feel ready? Are you waiting for the perfect time? Let me tell you a secret. The perfect time is a myth. It does not exist. The stars will never align perfectly. The traffic lights of life will never all be green at the same time. There is a graveyard filled with people who had more talent than you, more potential than you, and better ideas than you. But they are dead, and they died with their music still inside them, because they were waiting for tomorrow. Don't be like Julian. Be messy. Be imperfect. Be scared. But for God's sake, be active. Because the cost of discipline is always less than the price of regret. Start today, not because you are ready, but because you are running out of time.